So I've been asked this question multiple times, is why the negative manifestations or negative impressions on our subconscious mind, they come so fast and things happen to go wrong very quickly, whereas those positive or good manifestations take that so long. So in this video I will explain that to best of my understanding is why that happens, and I've also noticed that aspect in my life when I did that, when I fell into the trap of thinking about negative things and how they got impressed and how they got expressed in this reality. So my name is Rohit and I've been studying of law of attraction manifestation for years now, and my goal with this channel is to simplify manifesting so people can really manifest whatever they desire, the dream house, dream relationship, dream job, perfect health, whatever their desires, they can manifest with the power of your imagination. So a couple of my clients, they ask me is like, if when I have a negative thought, right, or when I had an, let's take this example, I had an argument with someone at work and I'm constantly thinking about that argument, especially when I'm in my bed and I'm thinking I should have said that to them and they should have said that to me and this should have happened, that should have happened, and they are constantly having this conversation in their mind. They're having this inner conversation. And especially what happens is when we're doing things during the day, when we're in our active state, right, we don't really think of these conversations. When you're actually not in this active state, when you're in a little bit more relaxed state, like maybe you're having drinks with your friends, maybe you're just relaxing watching TV, or maybe just relaxing reading a book, or maybe you're having a bath, or maybe you're just heading off to bed. In most cases, that's a human trait. A lot of people have that, and it's not anything to be shameful of. A lot of us do that, is that we think about the negative things which happen and we repeat them in our mind's eye, especially when we are in a relaxed state. So this is a big point of, this is a very important point that I want you to remember, is a very key point, especially in a relaxed state. If you're repeating those inner conversations where we had arguments, those are going to get impressed. And what generally happens is human mind is, from evolutionary, it is more skewed towards the negative. That is just the way our human mind is, because our human body is built for survival, so it's always looking for threats in our environment. So if you think this argument is a threat, so your mind will remind you of that again and again and again. And because of that, and also we have some emotional charge to that instance of that argument or whatever, and that will get repeated. And most of us think of these things when we are relaxing, and that makes it even more likely to get impressed on your subconscious mind. And guess what will happen? More arguments, more of those things will happen in the future. So now you have to think about, okay, if more of these things happen, if more of these things go forward into the future, what it is that what I can do. Do I need to catch my thoughts all the time? Do I need to stop myself and say positive thoughts all the time? And I've personally done that when I was in more of like the Esther Hicks, the old school law of attraction kind of techniques when I used to use, and it was very mentally draining and very mentally exhausting. And even though sometimes it did work, not to say that the typical law of attraction techniques do not work, but they are very inconsistent and you're not really sure why they're working or not working in this instance. So I was trying my best here and trying to be, okay, everyone loves me, everyone respects me, everyone talks to me, okay, when I had these arguments in my life. And I'm trying to, and sometimes some days will go well, but when I would go back to sleep, I would think about the old argument again, and then similar situation will happen at work. So this was constant yo-yo between a positive event and a negative event, a positive event and a negative event. And I was like, I need to fix this, I need to find a way. So I was exploring, I explored a lot of different websites, different coaches and all that, and somebody talked about forgiveness. Forgiveness in the sense, if somebody has had an argument with you or something like that, you imagine forgiving them in your mind's eye, in your imagination. You imagine forgiving them, and you imagine them accepting your forgiveness. And then I was reading more about Neville's books, and I came about Awaken Imagination. And in Awaken Imagination, there's a whole chapter on revision. shearing prunes of revision and pruning shears of revision. Pruning shears of revision. And in this chapter, Neville is talking about forgiveness, and forgiveness is what he says. This is what he says: every time one really forgives, that is, every time one relives the event as it should have happened, one is born again. That means in his consciousness, your new self is born. So every time, so the idea of forgiving is a daily possibility, and if it is sincerely done, it will lift a man to higher and higher levels of being. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to implement this concept of forgiveness, which is imagining as the conversation would have gone. So when I had this argument with someone, I would imagine the conversation going well, and we're not having arguments. Either we're disagreeing politely or we're coming to an agreement, but there's no charge, and if we do say something, we forgive each other. So I did that in my imagination, and guess what happened? Slowly and slowly, less and less and less arguments kept happening. And so now I realized, because our human mind is more skewed towards negative things are more in the forefront of our mind. So what we can use is the power of revision. We can revise these events which happen. If you can, I highly recommend to do revision daily, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's for 2 minutes. Imagine yourself, something in your day might have gone wrong, and if you can't do it every day, please do it every other day. And you imagine, and whatever event happened, you imagine as you would have wanted it to go. Or if you had an argument with someone, you can imagine forgiving them. You can imagine any of these things, and that will get you to your end very quickly, or at least dissolve all this friction and these challenges in your life. Now comes the question, why the quote unquote good or positive things take such a long time for us. So there are two factors to this. The first factor is, are you at the same time, let's say you're imagining getting extra $10,000, right? You're imagining having extra $10,000, but at the same time you have assumptions around money makes people bad, or the only way I can get 10,000 is by doing something which is shady, or the only way people get this money is by pure luck, or by a very rare possibility or an extremely low chance of this happening, or this will happen. There's a very low chance. So yeah, we have all these underlying assumptions about this money. So what you can really do is figure out what these underlying assumptions are. Ask yourself, why do you think is like getting this $10,000? Why do you think it is so difficult? What is the challenge behind getting those $10,000? What is maybe I think money, if I become rich, or if I earn extra $10,000, my friends will not like me. That's an assumption. You got to change that. If you have an assumption that money makes people more selfish, or brings out the negative traits in them, you got to change that. That's an assumption. You got to change that. So you can either write them down, or in your imagination have an inner conversation which is the opposite of that negative assumption. So all these assumptions, they could be like, this is your goal, $10,000, but at the same time you have a bunch of assumptions which are like holding your desire from coming through, or it's coming very slowly. And for some people it's like, it's a very rare possibility I can get $10,000, but it will come, it's very, very, very unlikely. So what will happen? It will only happen in a very, very, very unlikely way, if that is what you think. Or if you think I have to work extra hard to get that 10,000, you will have to work extra hard. And I've been there, I've done that, and I made extra money, and I worked so much that I got burned out, I got sick. So your assumptions are also dictating your goals. So that's why a lot of positive goals, they have underlying assumptions, and these assumptions are actually slowing your manifestation down. So if you kind of fix those assumptions, your manifestation will come very quickly, and all the positive things will happen very fast. And the second thing is, you must also understand is every goal or every desire has its own appointed hours. So if you have, let's say, imagine being an owner of a multinational company, You can be an owner within a year or two. Mark Zuckerberg did it. There are a lot of tech people who have done it. It's generally the tech industry who has been able to do that very fast. But that does not mean that it will happen tomorrow. It has its own gestation period. And in my personal experience, the more complex the manifestation is, or the more, quote unquote, big the manifestation is, generally it takes longer. Not to say it always have to take 5 or 10 years. It can happen very quickly. It can happen in 6 months to 12 months. But even for a lot of us think, why 6 months, why 12 months? Every manifestation has its own gestation period. So we need to be a bit more patient and focus on other desires. And that will take us to those ends. So I hope you found this video really useful. If you truly apply what I have shared in this video, what Neville have shared, and what I have distilled with my years of experience, you can transform your life very fast. Like within 2 weeks, maybe within a week, if you are able to figure out those assumptions, you're able to change them very quickly. If you're able to revise those events very quickly, you can literally transform the direction of your life. And that is the power of imagination. That is the power of revision. And that is the power of imagination. So I hope you found this video really useful. I would love to know your thoughts. So please post in the comment section what you learned from this video, and is there anything else you would like me to talk more about. And definitely give this video a like so it can spread around on YouTube. More people can watch it. Some people really love my content and they want this content to be shared, to be known by more people. So I'm doing my best, but if you can help me out in that will be great as well. So I wish you guys great success on your manifesting journey. And soon I will be opening up a channel, like a medium, to communicate with all the members on the channel. And I'm thinking which medium will be more appropriate, maybe a Discord or a Facebook group or something else. We'll come up with that and discuss, and I will share with you guys soon. So until then, take care, good luck, and I will see you in the next video.